Man, get up here in the Zoloft to get your head right.
All right. What's snapping, folks? Welcome to the Zoloft, your head right hangout. My head right homies, how you doing on this fine Monday? I guess for this, it's a fine Monday, even though we got a tornado watch. It's like, hey, how you gonna start your week? You're gonna start your week with a tornado watch. All right, well, you just stay on the watch thing. Don't escalate to a tornado warning or anything like that. I got some puffy clouds out there, like coming in from the north or whichever, and it's like, y'all just gonna stay on out there and let us go on ahead and have our Zoloft time, man. Don't be twisting things up in here. Speaking of twisting things, we're gonna get into some time traveling twisting. And okay, so here's the deal. The wife and I, you know, for our date nights, a couple extra button pushings that I had to do. You know, we like to, you know, get our snack on, and you know, and watch, you know, and catch up on some TV. We don't really watch a lot. As a matter of fact, we don't even have TV. We don't have cable TV.
I don't have cable.
Yeah, we just you know find things online to like watch. Sometimes we'll binge watch some stuff that that's not even on anymore. We don't really watch what's the latest thing or series, whichever. And when I and it's a lot of times the pickings are slim, man. They're slim pickings because everything's like well, not everything, but a lot of the stuff is just perverted, man. It's everything is like the TV MA rating and stuff like that. So it's gonna be some nudity or gonna be a whole bunch of just debauched stuff, And man, I don't want that kind of energy in our house, man. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
So I try to go through finding things to watch, and I'll look through things like Tubi. Tubi's the thing that I look through the most, right? And Tubi, of course, is loaded with a whole bunch of garbage, man. But just try. And I don't want to look, man. I'm not trying to be cheap or anything like that. I don't want to give these people money. I don't want to pay for a subscription to Netflix or Hulu or whichever and stuff like that. And Tubi, they'll offer stuff to watch, and so you just gotta deal with the ads. Whatever. It's old school, man. You get commercials. So looking through stuff, and a lot of the stuff, man, that they make available that's more on the like PG-13 or TV-14 side. And even with those, man, they sneak in. It's like you can't get away from it. They're gonna throw some nudity in there or whichever. It's like, dang, man. So, and a lot of the stuff that they did is very feminist empowered oriented. They want to make sure that those things are very available, right? Because there's an agenda to it, y'all. There's an agenda to it. So, they make those the kind of things very available. And one of the things that and we've watched a few of them, right? And it's like kind of always like the same, y'all know how it is, man. You know how it is. Hollywood, run by Democrats, they got an agenda, right? They run the media, okay? And that's why I try to tell, Republican voters, who roll their eyes and scoff when you see a black actress comes out there and talks about racism in Hollywood, and here come this new whatever Republican parties just roll around. Oh, they're talking about racism. You just need to shut up. Who gets to make $1 million? And you're so oppressed. And I'm like, dude, shut up. Let them call Hollywood. Hollywood is run by Democrats, right? Just shut up. Let them call it for what it is. And it's like, instead of like getting out there and trying to tell them that it doesn't exist, man, you guys could actually use this to pull the rug up from underneath Democrats. But no. It's like this wave of Republicans, they can't do that. They just can't do it. And it's like, well, this is why you guys get your butt whooped in the culture, man. You got to learn how to use this stuff against them, and you don't know how to do it. You think that your amazing intellect is what's going to make them figure it out, or you're just going to, ridicule them and make fun of them, and somehow they're going to feel ashamed to think what they think. It's like, no, it ain't going to work that way, man. When you have an opportunity to be like, get to have Democrats, have the rugs pulled up from underneath them, you don't take it. So. Anyway, which brings me to this show, Timeless, and we was watching this because CJ had to go to the emergency room, man. So like we're thinking, spring is setting in and stuff like that, and we thinking like, okay, we got some allergies or some dust, from our work, that we're like thinking, okay, maybe that's what it is. She's having, she's an acute asthmatic, right? And so she's having like trouble breathing, but it's like nothing that she's not like really not used to or anything like that. So she does her treatments and whichever. And but this time, she was having some serious shoulder pain. And once again, she thought it was it's just a job. Maybe did some lifted something the wrong way or whichever. But it was also accompanied by some nausea. And I'm like, really? Okay, so you got some shoulder pain, some nausea, having some trouble breathing. Yeah, this could be the job, but I'm not sure if I'm really comfortable with that. And then finally she was like, yeah, I want to go to urgent care, right? So we went to urgent care, and when she had mentioned, okay, shoulder pain accompanied by some nausea, it was like, oh, well, let's do an EKG. And they did the EKG, and they're like, you need to go to the emergency room. So, long story short, we've been, at the emergency room. So if you notice that my content has been a little bit on the slip side, that's where we've been at the hospital, right? She's been in the hospital for a few days. And while she's recovering, well, we try to keep it as normal. This is over the weekend, and weekends we try. It's like we gonna keep date night. We gotta keep date night. So I go and I go and cook some food and stuff like that, and I bring it, and then we kick back and watch some TV.
Thank you so much, because the hospital food was awful.
So trying to keep it, still trying to keep it cozy and stuff, and in between the breathing treatments and the shots and all that.
Yeah.
And so. And Timeless was one of the things that we was watching. So that's what I want to talk about, man. I want to talk about Timeless.
Timeless from 2018, right? It was a series from 2018?
Yeah. It is about back in 2018. That seemed like yesterday, man, but it's like way gone. And prayers, y'all, I appreciate it, because here's the thing, man. It sucks that, it used to be, with my media career, I could afford to have, Carrie as my partner, doing like, research, article research and things like that. And, different kinds of, production assistant things. And unfortunately, because of, like with shadow banning and the content suppression is so bad, and the being treated like a leper is just awful. Well, unfortunately, we can't afford to, work as partners, to the degree that we used to. So she had to take a more, conventional job, and a kind of job where it's like she wouldn't have to take the work home with her. You know what I'm saying? But it's like she do her 9 to 5, and that's it. She come, home, and then she's able to work in this, and as opposed to focused on more of what her trade is, which would have her bring in more of her homework with this, and we wouldn't be able to focus on making our product, our content and stuff like that. So, but at any rate, it's a little bit more physical, and what's lifting and things like that, and so we're just thinking, it's not, we'll monitor it, but it's not really something that's abnormal, that kind of symptoms that you would have, like some aches and things like that, or some allergies, asthma-induced allergies. She would do her treatment and whatnot. But this time it was like, I need to go to urgent care. Anyway, we got to watching this show. We were actually watching it before, but we just continued watching it in the hospital. And so Timeless. Oh, and all that to say, y'all, prayers appreciated, because I really hated that. Hey, people work. Sometimes both parties, they have their different jobs, but we're supposed to be a team, working in this, and we're still a team, but in this capacity we're supposed to be a team. So prayers appreciated that. We can get back on track. God willing, He'll allow us to get our content out there, and we'll gain more support from more viewers and whatnot, and get back to get our groove back better than ever, hopefully. So Timeless is this show. I wanted to talk about this, man, because this is what the Democrats do. But this show is a prime example. Okay, this is a prime example. So Timeless basically a team gets put together, the people from different walks of life and all that sort of stuff, and they're going to get put together and they're going to save the world traveling through time. And time travel shows are fun to watch. You really got to suspend disbelief, or you just got to sit back and be like, okay, just to keep the story going. But it's like, man, that ain't gonna happen in time travel, man. And the effects of time, you change it. It's like, how can you be that precise about how something's gonna be affected by change? It's like that kind of stuff, man. But it's still just fun. Kick back and watch it. And it's like I said, it's not a show that's terribly lewd or anything, or so it's just something that we could just kick back and watch. It's fun. But the pandering, and there's a strategy to it, y'all. There's a strategy to it, man. The pandering that goes into the show, I'm like, man, is there ever an agenda going on here? They're traveling through time, taking on this family organization called Rittenhouse. Okay, and Rittenhouse their objective is to change history and to make a better world and in their image, a better America, a better world. Okay, so they're going to go through history as a means to eliminate certain things to really craft America into what they want it to be. Rittenhouse is a real thing, man. It's called the Democrat Party. They're the ones who are definitely trying to twist up history and make America into something that they want it to be, and trying to eliminate figures and what they actually represented. It's like Rittenhouse it's like this story doesn't even know that, dude, you guys are Rittenhouse. You producers, you servants of the Democrat Party, you are Rittenhouse. All right. And so, but I'm watching the panel. I say, okay, so in this story, okay, this is cool. The one of the key figures, black actor, who plays the time machine pilot. He's a brilliant engineer, a brilliant programmer. Okay, I get it. And that could happen to anybody. So it wouldn't matter to me if the programmer, the engineer genius, it wouldn't matter to me if he's black, white, Oriental, Middle Eastern, Mexican, or from any of the Spanish-speaking Western territories, wouldn't matter to me. But what I noticed was, okay, you guys are gonna make him black, though. Okay, once again, not an issue, right? It's not like, hey, yeah, that's right, man. They got a black man playing. That's what we need representation. As y'all know, I don't roll like that. Okay, I'm more of a judge a person by the character, not by the color of their skin kind of guy. Right, and their abilities. And so now, and I noticed as they go through history, several of the shows are targeted towards setting the record straight about black folks, right? They wanted to make sure that they zeroed in on figures like Katherine Johnson, who's a mathematician at NASA. You guys probably, are familiar with these mathematicians who were helping. And of course, because of segregation, stuff like that, they couldn't work up there with the white folks and whatnot. But one of the people that they zeroed in on was Katherine Johnson. And I think it's kind of interesting that they zeroed in on Katherine Johnson. The way they zeroed in on her, they made her very dark. Right? They made her, they wanted to make sure that that Katherine Johnson was a black woman. And Katherine Johnson was a black woman. But Katherine Johnson almost looked like a black albino. She was you would almost not know. You'd almost not know that she was black. She was very light-skinned. But they made her, in the shows, they make her dark. And it's weird because, a lot of times, black folks will complain that about how, Hollywood is always trying to lighten white folks' skin to make them more acceptable. But it's like, but you just did the opposite. You made a very light-skinned black woman. I think she was born Creole.
Oh, okay.
Right? She a high yellow, man. She a red bone. You know what I'm saying? So but it's like y'all took her as if you were ashamed of her being of Creole descent, and made her very dark. Right? Now the thing is, this wasn't done. I don't think any of the producers of this show, executive producers, I don't think any of them were black. I think they're all white. You know, they're all white. So, but to pander, see, but listen, but bear with me, y'all, bear with me. They're pandering. They want to make it where it's like, okay, we want people to know that she was black. And we've got this brilliant black time machine pilot. Where else can we go in history to set the record straight? So then they go to, they're going to go to the Lone Ranger. And we want to be the ones taking the credit to set the record straight that the Lone Ranger, the origins of the Lone Ranger are in Bass Reeves, who was black, right? And then they want to zero in on Robert Johnson, right? King of the Delta Blues, all right? And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have bands like Led Zeppelin, and we wouldn't have bands like, Cream or these different, bluesy rock bands and things like that. And I'm like, what's your angle here? Of course, it's a rhetorical question because I know what your angle is. See, the reason, it's like, what's the catch? You guys are taking these shows and you're zeroing in on and trying to paint black folks in a very positive light. Give them they're in these characters, there's none of the black culture, so to speak. Right? There's to go with these characters, there's none of the urban inflections, the style. You know what I'm saying? No hip hop culture, no gangster culture, no black culture. Whatever, it's like unfortunate, whatever that's been dragged into by black culture. It's like you've done it to yourself. You gave yourselves this image that's really not respectable. Okay? But there's none of that. All right? None of the lingo, none of it with the character who plays the brilliant engineer. And then you have Mason himself, the designer of the time machine, the builder of it, and his industry. He doesn't, and not only does he not have like the, even the nerdy American manner of speaking. They made him British. Yeah. Right? He's from either British or England. I can't tell them apart. But so that he's
the same to you?
Right. He's like he's like the chocolate Lex Luthor. You know what I'm saying? So they got none of the stereotypes. It's great. It's like, just let them be. Let them just be, man. Don't force them into this box of where we have to constantly promote this in this narrative in the culture.
It was refreshing.
It was very refreshing, right? Because it's like for us, that stuff's not foreign to us. It's like, yeah, dude, that stuff's normal, man. But you have the Democrats who want to force things to be perceived a certain way. So when they go through history and you catch these people, it's like it's the same thing. They don't pigeonhole them. So here's the thing. Catch number one. The Democrats will allow a show to go out like this because they have to cover their tracks. All right? They have to make it look like, well, we're the ones producing these shows, and we have to be the good guys who are presenting black folks in a positive light. Okay? This helps them in the culture, and they know it. So that's one. Two is the LGBTQ agenda. See, executive producers in this show, they're well, one, I think, what's her name? Let me hold up. I can't remember her name, and I should have made a note of it. Erica Lizanne Mittman is an executive producer in it, and she's a lesbian activist. As far as I know, she's lesbian, but a big lesbian activist. So if they're going to put up money for this show, well, we want some pro-LGBT stuff in there. We want a character, we want a hero in there that's going to be pro-LGBT. So now that's typical. Okay, that's how it's going in diversity and things like that, and the quota that they have to make, that they're going to include that sort of stuff in there. But this is what the thing that I picked up on. Like I said, I noticed that you guys are painting black folks in a very positive light in this show. You know that there's got to be a catch. And the catch is, and I've been saying it for years, y'all, I've been saying it for years. The Democrats have used the black community to push forward the LGBTQ agenda. All right, black folks were using it. Blacks have been conditioned by Democrats for decades. And like LBJ said, I'll have those N-words voting Democrats for the next 200 years. So with using them conditioned, the plight that the Democrats have imposed on black folks, they use that plight to gain sympathy votes for the other causes that they want so they can increase their voter base. And of course, to undermine America in general, to remove it from being a republic, to turn it into the democracy that they want. Like I said, Rittenhouse. They are Rittenhouse. They are the villain that they tried to make out in this show.
Yep.
Okay, so in this show, once again, the Democrats have placed black folks on the plantation to farm more votes for them, catering to the LGBTQ. So in this series, the blacks who worked in this basically sold their souls to the devil. You participate in this show. We will paint blacks in a positive light, get them out of the stereotypes and all that sort of stuff, put them in the roles that, present them as brainy and well-mannered and empathetic and things like that. We'll portray them that way. Okay, we'll portray them that way. The trade-off is that you let us use you to make heroes out of homosexuals. Make it look normal that they have families.
Yep.
That they can parent children and they can hold high positions, in terms of our national security and things like that. That's the trade-off. So I just something I thought I would share with y'all. And Democrats have been doing this for years, right? And I've been saying, dude, that cultural effort, that's the thing that has to be done. Now, so the show was canceled after 2 seasons. And like I said, it was an enjoyable show. You just have to grit and bear, the message that they're putting through. But it's enjoyable. But nobody can actually tell you why the show was canceled.
That's weird.
Yeah, the ratings? The ratings weren't really that bad. What was it, because of money? They really couldn't tell you. I don't think the show was really meant to go that long. The show was really just supposed to be a part, because I noticed that this was concerning. They even threw like an election lingo in there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. They wanted to make sure that they voted for Hillary Clinton and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
When the show it didn't have the effect that it was supposed to have, it got canceled. Not only that, I mean, it's really it's once again part of the whole go woke, go broke thing. It ain't about going broke, y'all. It's about moving yards. It's about putting these cultural narratives out there to just plant those seeds.
Yeah.
All right, to deepen the roots, right? To deepen the weeds. Really, and there's how far these roots can go, who knows? Because there's nothing for it to root in. It's an abyss, right? But they want to gain yards, y'all. That's what it's all about. That's why they'll sacrifice their businesses and whatnot, sacrifice millions, billions, to pervert the republic. That's what it's all about. To pervert the world.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, y'all. That's what it's all about. So this show, it ran its course, it did its part, and for no other good reason, it was canceled.
It did its damage.
It did its damage. That's what it was for. And it sucks, man, because these are the people, man. They get the funding to do this sort of stuff. These perverts will come in with that funding. Yeah, we'll get your show going. You're gonna do this stuff, right?
Yeah. There's actually laws in Hollywood that you will use, this amount of homosexual actors, trans actors, black lesbians.
Yeah.
They break it all down, and these are these laws that they put in Hollywood.
Hey, it's basically a perversion of the affirmative action quota.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, well, you had this. Well, just the way it was done for blacks. Well, you can do that for us.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to hire an X amount of perverts to fill these quotas. Right, and I know that there's people out there who struggle with affirmative action. I struggle with it too. I'm not particularly for affirmative action, especially not today. Folks need to understand that there was a time, man. You did have a sentiment. Democrats ain't that quick at abiding by the law. It's like when people talk about, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't take Lincoln didn't really do anything. The Emancipation Proclamation didn't take place until like years later and all that sort of stuff. It's like, yeah, that's because Democrats are very rebellious. What, do you think they're going to follow the law concerning things that they feel entitled to? Right? So even after Reconstruction and all that sort of stuff, Democrats are still going to be hard-headed. It's even like with Truman desegregating the military. And there's a lot of Republicans out there who think that Truman is the guy who desegregated the military. He wasn't. He just put it on paper. He wasn't really looking to do anything about it. But just to make sure that his agenda could go forth, he put that on paper just to shut some people up and get them off his back. And he was a member of the KKK. He just didn't attend their slumber parties. Right? So he's like, you guys, look, I'm not going to do anything about this. But just for appearances, man, just to keep these people off my back, we're going to do this. So he didn't do nothing about it. It was Eisenhower, the Republican Eisenhower, was actually who actually put it into action. All right, but all that to say, y'all, when you have these factions where it's not a special treatment. There were laws put in place that kept blacks, and even when those laws were removed, you ain't gonna have very cooperative Democrats that want to play nice. So things like affirmative action were put in place. Okay, it wasn't just like, hey, black people can't do anything when they can't get a job. No, there were people who kept them from getting jobs. We don't want to hire you because you're black, even though it's illegal to do that. Okay, it's affirmative action. We don't have that problem anymore. Affirmative action hasn't been necessary for a long time. Okay, so don't think I'm one of these people who stands by affirmative action and all this sort of. I don't. Right? It's pointless now. There was a time, the window is very short for it. It's not necessary anymore. But the thing is, Democrats, they use that stuff. They use that kind of argument. There was a time when black people needed it. We need it for the LGBTQ. We need it but see, the Democrats are the ones who imposed that plight in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they turn around and use it to gain sympathy votes for the other stuff that they want to make legal.
Right.
And it's all about growing their voter base, y'all. That's what it's all about. So they can change America into more of a democracy. Remove it from being a republic. They hate it that it's a republic. Okay? So, all that to say, y'all, these people, they wanted to get their, their show, basically to promote. It really wasn't about painting black folks in a positive light. It was really about promoting the LGBTQ agenda and making black folks look like their allies. And black folks should have been upset because one of the main grievances with a lot of Afrocentric black males is America is a country that has emasculated, right? Has taken away the masculinity of the black man. And I'm like, but you sit there and you let Democrats use the black community to promote LGBTQ all the time. They make parades forfeiting their manhood. You guys, they have parades for that, and they used you for that. It's not America in general that has done it. That is Democrats, the party that you're loyal to. So, anyway, what do you guys think? Have you guys seen the show?
Yeah, has anybody seen Timeless and what they did to history? There was a comment on our Bronze Serpent Media by one Robbie. He says, yeah, they think they're clever by getting ahead of the issue to advance/counter right statements.
Yes. And unfortunately, it works. I guess they are clever.
Work.
They're just not, but here's the thing. They are clever, but they think they're clever for a virtuous reason. They really think that they're doing good. What they're doing is evil. And even if they know that they're doing evil, they think that they're doing it for a good reason. You know what I'm saying? So that is who they are, and that is what they do.
Yeah.
And even things like trying to bash people like McCarthy, right? They zeroed in. They did. They really vilified McCarthy. They went after Bear. And I'm like, and the thing is, you would think, well, okay, here's the thing about bashing McCarthy. Let me say this first. I don't care. I don't care if you bash McCarthy. Oh, you ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But unfortunately, there'll be Republicans who will get butthurt about that because McCarthy was a patriot. He went after communism. We need more McCarthyism. We need to root out the communists. Right? Root out the communists. Right? We need more brave people like McCarthy. Man, screw McCarthy. McCarthy was a freaking Democrat. All right? He was another Democrat that tried to save his career by like a coward by trying to remove himself from the shameful career that he had as a Democrat to try to hide behind being a Republican. He was another one. He was like freaking, what's his name?
David Duke.
Like a David Duke, a George Wallace. He's one of those.
Yeah.
Trying to get away from the party to save and try to hide behind the Republican Party to make himself look respectful. That's right. That's where you go to the Republican Party to look respectful. Okay, at least, I don't know, you can't do that now. I don't have much respect for the Republican Party nowadays. This mainstream Republican Party is not respectable. Okay, but he did the same thing. He was another one, right? So you can bash, but you bash. So these Democrats that hate McCarthy so bad, they hate him so much. You just hate one of your own.
Yes.
All right? And McCarthy wasn't the only freaking Democrat, but the Democrats, they hated communism. They hated it. Let me rephrase that. It isn't that the Democrats hated communism. It's just that the Democrats are full-on freaking xenophobes. It wasn't communism that they hated. They just hated other countries. They don't like foreigners. All right? They did not like foreigners. They didn't like blacks. They didn't like Russians. They didn't like Koreans. They didn't like Chinese. They didn't like Jews. They didn't like Japs. They didn't like no Democrats, biggest bigots ever against everybody. It wasn't even about communism. They're just xenophobes. All right? But now, Democrats, they want to act like they're all accepting. They love everybody, except Russians. Right? Right? Except Russians. But it isn't because they love for them. They want them, they want the census of them. They want to use them for the power of the vote. That's what it's all about. Vote power to us so we can control you.
Yep.
Not only the way that you think, but hey, even your population if need be. Right? That's how Democrats roll, man. They've been doing this for decades, y'all. You know? So McCarthy, man, they trying to vilify McCarthy. McCarthy was one of theirs. And he hated communism as much as they did. Right? But they gotta make it look like they hate him. Because their worldview is communistic as anybody else's. Right? Even worse, they're Democrats. Like I said, you don't need to call them communists. They're worse. They're Democrats.
Yes.
But the bottom line is that they feel entitled and they want things facilitated by forcing ideology and labor on other people to fortify the state and what it's going to issue to its citizenry. Right? Slaves, serfs, right? Wards of the state. That's what it's all about. Where the Democrats, they have control and they issue whatever they feel like whatever they think you have a right to. Okay? The elitist, the do away with classes. Everybody gonna be serfs. Everybody's gonna be in servitude to the state. That's what it is about the Democrat Party. So they're gonna pander to you. Go ahead, we support you in your perversion. We support all that sort of stuff. All right? So McCarthy, and you can go ahead and diss him all you want to. He's one of yours. I don't care, right? So, but it's just interesting how these people, man, they go at they try to paint these narratives, and it's like, what I'm on to you, man. A lot of people ain't, unfortunately. So anyway, just wanted to Carrie's not chiming in. She's still, kind of getting the rest of this stuff out there. She's still, she's still spry and all that sort of stuff.
There's some people who joined late that don't know why I'm not talking.
But the playback is there for you. The playback is there, and I hope you guys will go back and review the video. And I meant not to talk too long because I got Joe Messina's show tonight. and want to get her back into get the intravenous chicken soup in her. But no, we won't do it. We won't do intravenous chicken soup.
I've had enough intravenous fluids for now.
We get that chicken soup in her, and y'all have a great rest of your evening. BronzeSerpentMedia.com. Unless was anybody like saying anything? I don't want to cut out too quick, but like I said, I don't want to go too long because I really want her to rest.
Oh, honey. John the Baptist did suggest Sapphire and Steel. He says it's from 1979. It's UK. It's retro and weird and time travel. So I said we'll definitely check that out. It looks like it's right up our alley.
Sapphire and Steel. Okay, thank you.
And Jay Thompson says, are we back to Monday and Wednesday shows?
It's still up in the air, folks. Like I said, I'm trying to at least come on. But there's, as I said in the last one, I don't want to give you guys like another sob story. I'm at this, long story short, I'm just at that point, we can't grow our audience, y'all. And I can't really afford to do the Zoloft. And at the same time, I can't afford not to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to hit it where I can, just to try to keep on doing it. But the schedule that we were doing it, it's, I got to try to keep myself open to working on other stuff. So I'm just trying to hit it when I can. So appreciate you guys bearing with me. But the Zopium Den is still on for 7 p.m. Central on Tuesday. That hasn't changed. And also, y'all, I'm really trying to get it to where I can do the when I'm able to do the Zoloft as the comedy show that I'm hoping I can do it as. It'll be at a set time. It'll probably more likely be during the weekend or something like that. But I got to have the time, and of course the funds to be able to do it. And the viewership is just, it's not there. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us, man. Thank you. But as you guys notice, I can't grow my audience, so I can't grow my support, can't grow the funds. So, the shows are just, they're on back burner until I can, till Lord willing, windfall comes through.
Yeah.
But I'm trying, y'all. I'm still at it, doing it where I can. Anybody else?
Roland says, prayers for you both. God's got you, and Jesus is next to you.
Thank you. Hey, we need it.
Amen.
All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. BronzeSerpentMedia.com. Thanks for dropping a buck in the buck to keep your bros on the go. And for you guys still tuning in and still watching, it really means a lot to us. Work those like buttons and all that sort of stuff. Maybe we'll glitch the algorithm. And we will talk again soon. Hope to see you guys in the Zopium Den tomorrow. Right on, y'all. Night.